So this question, quite a lot of you didn't do well on. So first one, give one other type of substances that can react with an acid to form soluble salt. So in order to make a soluble salt, you could have used metals. You could use metal oxides, metal hydroxide, also you could use metal carbonate. Either one of them can result in a metal salt forming. So calcium nitrate contain ion Ca2 plus and NO3 minus. Give the formula for calcium nitrate. So you can do drop and swap. So calcium form 2 plus ion and NO3 is a polyatomic ion or compound ion. So it has a single 1 minus charge. So minus 1. You drop your valencies and then swap them. So calcium NO3 is a polyatomic ion. You need to treat it as such, one entity. And then one lot of every single lot of calcium need 2 lots of NO3 minus. So the formula would be calcium CaNO3 twice. So you need to keep that in the bracket. So that's how you do that. So if you can try magnesium nitrate. Likewise, what we did in there, magnesium is a group 2 element, form 2 plus ion, NO3 minus ion, and you just drop your valencies and swap them. Therefore, you will get, for example, magnesium Mg NO3 twice. Aluminium nitrate, if you want to do aluminium nitrate, for example, aluminium is a group 3 element, 3 plus charge. Nitrate is a compound ion and is minus 1. You can swap them. So that should be Al. If it is 1, we don't write it. Al NO3 thrice. Right, so this question is based on a recurve practical, the first recurve practical for your course. Describe the method to make pure. In your method, you need to say it must be pure. That means it only has it should contain only one type of substance, which is they are asking you to make pure magnesium sulfate crystals. So you shouldn't have anything other than that. And they also asking you to make sure it is dry crystals that you are making. So in this one, they are using metal oxide and dilute acid. What metal you are using? So magnesium is the metal, so the oxide must be magnesium oxide. So magnesium oxide must be the one of the reactant. Okay. And what acid is going to give you sulfate salt? You need to know 3 main table acids for your course. One is hydrochloric acid. And it forms chloride ion or salt. So it forms chloride salt, chloride ion. The second one that you need to know is nitric acid. So nitric acid form nitrate salt. And then the final one that you need to know is sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid forms sulfate ion. In this case, they are asking you to make sulfate, magnesium sulfate. So magnesium oxide must be reacted with sulfuric acid in order to make sulfate. So therefore you are using sulfuric acid. Okay. This acid is very corrosive. It's a strong acid. Therefore, you need to use diluted acid. And you need to make sure, specify how much volume of acid that you should be using. So how could you measure the volume of acid? You should use a measuring cylinder. So this is a really good experiment. The information flows very logically. So these are the distinctive steps I want you to think about when it comes to making pure crystals. So first one, you need to think about reactions. What reaction, what acid you're going to use, and what base that you're going to use. That is the reaction part. The second part you need to think about is filtering. In order to make it a pure one, you need to get rid of all the impurities. So that is filtration step, second step. Next step in this process is evaporation. And last but not the least, you need to drying the crystals. People forget it is a dry crystal they are asking, so drying the crystal is important as well. Okay, so for reaction, we are going to say magnesium oxide and diluted sulfuric acid. Let's write what we're going to do. So measure 50 centimeter cube of diluted sulfuric acid using a measuring cylinder. Into a beaker. So we measured out 50 centimeter cube of dilute sulfuric acid using a measuring cylinder into the beaker. The second one, what we're going to do, gently heat the acid using Bunsen burner. And add a spatula of magnesium oxide. Keep stirring the mix. Mix with a glass rod. Third one, what you have to say, once you added a tiny amount of magnesium oxide, stir it with a glass rod and then keep adding magnesium oxide until it becomes excess. So this step is very, very important. The key word in here they expect is excess. You must add magnesium or any base in excess to make sure all the acids has been neutralized. So first, what did they say? For the reaction step, measure 50 centimeter cube of dilute sulfuric acid using a measuring cylinder into a beaker. Gently heat up the acid using Bunsen burner and add a spatula of magnesium oxide, and you need to keep stirring it using a glass rod. Then you need to keep adding magnesium oxide until it becomes excess. How do we know it's become excess? You will see a solid remains in the mix. Now, next step. So we have talked about the reaction. We are going to be talking about our next step, which is filtration. In filtration, only thing you need to say, set up a simple filtration using conical flask, funnel, and a filter paper. Filter out. Why are we filtering? So we added excess amount, more magnesium oxide than we needed, so that is remaining as solid, so we need to get rid of it, otherwise it won't be a pure crystal. So set up a simple filtration using conical flask, funnel, and a filter paper to filter out unreacted excess magnesium oxide. Once you get rid of it, what you're going to do, you're going to transfer your filtrate, transfer the filtrate into a evaporating basin. So we have done the filtration step. Now we have to talk about the evaporation step. Let's talk about the evaporation step. So evaporation step, what you are going to talk about is set up a water bath and place the evaporating basin on top of it. Heat up until the point of crystallization. And then last bit, let the reaction mix actually filtrate cool down and form crystals. So that crystals are formed over, you could say, 24-hour period. So we now talked about evaporation as well. The final step that we need to do, we forget, is now we got the crystals ready. We just need to put that in a dry cloth or paper, filter paper, and pat it dry. So scrape the crystals onto a filter paper or paper towel to pat it dry. So this is the logical sequential method. So initially what did we do? We took up our measuring cylinder to measure 50 centimeter cube of dilute sulfuric acid and pour it into a beaker. Gently warm up the acid so that reaction can happen much faster. Add a spatula of magnesium oxide. Keep stirring it. Keep adding magnesium oxide until it becomes excess. Set up simple filtration using conical flask, funnel, and filter paper to filter unreacted excess magnesium oxide. And transfer the filtrate into an evaporating basin and set up a water bath and place the evaporating basin on top of it and heat up until the point of crystallization. When you see on the edges, you will see the crystals are starting to form. At that point, you need to stop. The reason why we are stop heating at that point is if you heat it up the crystals are going to break and release some toxic chemicals. We don't want that to happen. And another thing is we are using water bath. Using the steam, we are heating up the filtrate rather than heating it up directly into the Bunsen burner. That's because it can break the crystals and release toxic chemicals. So we don't want that to happen. Once the crystals are formed, let them form over 24-hour period. You can keep that evaporating basin near a windowsill so that it can evaporate the excess water. And once you come after to collect your crystals, you need to scrape them using a spatula, put it onto a paper towel or filter paper and gently pat it dry so that